She smiled as the judge asked her one final question. Not because she was nervous, not because she was uncertain, but because she believed this was the moment she had waited for. Across the courtroom in Abuja, Amara Bello adjusted her designer jacket and leaned back in her seat, crossing her legs with confidence. Her lawyer whispered something in her ear, and she laughed softly, just loud enough for her ex-husband to hear. "This is over," her eyes seemed to say. On the opposite side of the room sat Khalil Adeyemi, quiet, still, unmoved. No expensive suit, no anxious gestures, no desperate explanations. Just a man who looked like he had already accepted defeat. And that was Amara's favorite part. Because she didn't just want the divorce. She wanted to win. What Amara didn't know was that she had already taken everything Khalil wanted her to take. And the one thing she left behind was worth more than all of it. Khalil and Amara met in Abuja over a decade earlier at a charity gala held beneath crystal chandeliers and polite conversations. He was quiet even then, an infrastructure consultant. Reserved, rarely spoke unless spoken to. Amara, on the other hand, filled rooms effortlessly. She was brilliant, ambitious, and magnetic, the kind of woman people noticed the moment she entered a space. She believed in appearances, momentum, and upward motion. Khalil believed in patience. When they married, people said they balanced each other. But balance only works when both sides respect the weight they carry. At first, Amara admired Khalil's restraint. She called it depth. Later, she called it weakness. As her career grew, so did her impatience. She moved into executive circles, government contracts, private dinners, boardroom negotiations. Khalil supported her quietly, never interrupting, never demanding recognition. And slowly, she stopped seeing him. Success changed Amara. Not suddenly, gradually. The silences that once felt peaceful became uncomfortable. Khalil's calm started to feel like passivity. She wanted presence, authority, a man who could dominate rooms the way she did. And when Khalil didn't transform into that man, Amara began to look elsewhere. She criticized his clothes, mocked his caution, dismissed his opinions in public. Khalil noticed. He said nothing. That was always his mistake. When Amara finally asked for a divorce, she did it casually, as if ending a meeting early. "I've outgrown this," she said. Khalil nodded. He didn't argue. He didn't beg. He didn't threaten. And that frightened her more than anger ever could. Amara's legal team moved fast. They froze accounts, claimed properties, secured assets, the house in Maitama, the cars, the investment portfolios. Khalil signed everything without protest. Friends called him foolish. Some called him weak. Amara called him predictable. In court, she performed confidence like theater. She smiled. She whispered jokes to her lawyer. She avoided Khalil's eyes. To her, he was already gone. When the judge confirmed that Amara would retain the majority of the marital assets, she exhaled, satisfied. Then came the final procedural review. "One remaining disclosure," the judge said calmly. Amara barely listened, until the courtroom went quiet. The judge looked down at the document in his hands. "Mr. Adeyemi," he said, "you disclosed an asset not previously claimed in a marital settlement." Amara frowned. Her lawyer leaned forward. "What asset?" Amara whispered. Khalil stood for the first time. And for the first time since the proceedings began, he spoke. "Not an asset," he said evenly. "A holding." The judge nodded. "Mr. Adeyemi is the sole beneficiary of Adeyemi Sovereign Trust, established 9 years prior to this marriage." The words didn't register at first. Then the numbers appeared on the screen. Not millions, not tens of millions. A sovereign-level investment structure tied to infrastructure, land development, and long-term federal bonds. Amara's smile collapsed. Her lawyer stood abruptly. This wasn't disclosed during the marriage. The judge adjusted his glasses. It wasn't required to be. Silence spread through the room. Khalil turned, not to Amara, but toward the exit. She finally understood. He hadn't lost. He had waited. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Amara walked past them in silence, her face drained of color. Khalil didn't stop to speak. He didn't correct the headlines. He didn't explain the truth. Because power doesn't announce itself. It reveals itself when it's too late to negotiate. That night, alone in her new apartment, Amara stared at the city lights of Abuja. She had taken the house, the cars, the accounts, but she had lost the one thing she never saw coming. Control. Some people think winning means taking everything. But the smartest players let you take what you think matters. and keep what actually does. Because when the final asset is revealed, it's never about money. It's about who understood the game first. Was this justice or something colder? Watch on. Silence is louder than chaos when you know how to listen to it. Amara learned that in the days after the court ruling. At first, she expected noise. Headlines, phone calls, damage control meetings. But nothing came. No press frenzy. No gossip blogs digging. No congratulatory messages. Just silence. The kind that makes a person restless. She refreshed her phone constantly. Checked business emails. Scrolled through social media. Khalil's name didn't trend. His face didn't appear anywhere. And that unsettled her more than humiliation ever could. Because men who celebrate victories are predictable. Men who disappear after winning are dangerous. Amara moved into the Maitama house she had fought so hard to keep. It was beautiful. High ceilings, marble floors, a view of Abuja that made people jealous. But it didn't feel like a win. Every room reminded her of how easy it had been. How Khalil never fought her, never questioned her demands, never challenged her assumptions. At night, she replayed moments from marriage. Times Khalil had warned her gently. Some things are better left untouched. She had laughed then. Now she couldn't remember why. The first call came from her bank. A polite voice. Professional tone. Madam, there seems to be a temporary restriction on one of your accounts. Temporary. That word stayed with her. She called her lawyer immediately. There shouldn't be any restrictions, Amara said sharply. The court awarded me full access. Her lawyer hesitated. I'll look into it. He didn't call back that day. Or the next. When he finally did, his voice was different. Cautious. There are structural changes, he said. Changes tied to long-term holdings. What holdings? She snapped. A pause. Ones that were never marital assets. That was the first time fear entered her voice. Adeyemi's sovereign trust was not a bank account. It wasn't even a company. It was a structure. Built quietly, layer by layer, across borders and years. Land leases, infrastructure bonds, federal-level concessions that didn't appear on balance sheets. Khalil had built it long before Amara, long before her ambition, long before her contempt. And because it was never marital property, it never belonged to her. What Amara didn't realize was this. The trust didn't just hold assets. It influenced ecosystems. Her consultancy firm relied on contracts indirectly tied to infrastructure Khalil now controlled. Not openly, not illegally, just quietly. Amara requested a meeting. She phrased it carefully. Not apologetic, not hostile. Closure, she called it. Khalil declined. Not with words, with silence. Her assistant tried again. No response. For the first time in her life, Amara couldn't reach someone she needed. And that terrified her. Because power is access. And she had lost access. Khalil didn't celebrate. He didn't move into a mansion. Didn't buy a new car. Didn't post a statement. He returned to his routine. Morning walks. Black coffee. Meetings where he spoke less than everyone else. People around him noticed the shift. Not in wealth. In gravity. When Khalil entered rooms now, conversations changed tone. People leaned in. Listened more carefully. Because real power doesn't need recognition. It needs understanding. Amara's firm lost a bit. Then another. Nothing dramatic. Just delays. Revisions. Reconsiderations. Her competitors didn't celebrate. They simply advanced. When she demanded explanations, she received polite responses. Strategic realignment. Policy changes. Long-term adjustments. All phrases Khalil used to explain patience. She finally understood. He wasn't punishing her. He was removing himself. And everything that depended on him collapsed naturally. They met by accident. At an international development forum in the Central Business District. Khalil was speaking on a panel. Not as a billionaire. Not as an owner. As an advisor. Amara sat in the audience. When their eyes met, she expected something. Anger. Satisfaction. Judgment. She got none of it. After the session, she approached him. Khalil, she said. He nodded politely. That trust, she began. You planned this. No, he replied calmly. I prepared for it. There was a difference. She swallowed. You let me take everything. He looked at her for a long moment. Then spoke softly. I let you take what you valued. That was the moment she broke. Not visibly. Not publicly. Internally. Amara wanted to apologize. But apologies require humility. And humility arrives only after loss. I didn't know, she said quietly. Khalil's voice didn't change. That was never my responsibility. He stood to leave. Before he did, he said one final thing. You didn't lose because you betrayed me. She looked up. You lost because you underestimated silence. And then he was gone. Months later, Amara sold the Maitama house. Downsized. Restructured. Rebranded. From the outside, she survived. From the inside, she replayed the same moment. The judge's voice. The numbers. The silence. She learned something she never wanted to learn. Some people don't fight because they don't need to. They wait. Narrator, low controlled. She took the house, the cars, the accounts. But the final asset was never money. It was foresight. And foresight belongs only to those who know the game before it begins. Because when you mistake quiet for weakness, you don't lose loudly. You lose permanently. Was this justice or something colder?